Thank you, Joe. All right, bye-bye. That's good. It's all set to go. We're all in. You just need to talk, push your button to talk.
Ready?
Ready?
All right, I'd like to call the meeting to order for the public comment for the 2024 budget. You'd all stand and join me for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, everyone, when you come up to speak tonight, speak loud and clear into the microphone. We're having a hard time picking this up. We've got sign-up sheets, 3-minute time limit on public comments. What else did I have? That was, I do have one comment that was brought up last time was building contractual, page 3, 162400. It was 175,000, 175,000. You guys find it?
It's 81620.400.
162400, yeah. That was a fund of the whole town that has to do with that New York State law. We can't charge inside the village for billing for the highway department. So 35,000 of that was moved. It's 15 pages back. So appropriations, 15 pages, if you go 15 pages. Appropriations, general government support. It's 1990-400, DB 1990-400. Find it? That's where that 35,000 that's to pay for the highway department, separate from the building. Until we can figure out the percentage of square feet that the highway department is from this whole facility, we have to guesstimate on what the bill is going to be for electric and gas. We can't charge inside the village for the electric and gas for the highway department. Nothing changed as far as money-wise. We just moved 35,000 into a new line. Outside the village, DB. You got that? Good? You good with that? Ed? Steve? Okay. Alrighty, with that, I'll open up for public comments.
So my question will go amongst many of the categories or the different departments, but just in general. There's an appropriated fund balance line on, looks like each one of the departments. And I'll use the general fund townwide for an example. It's 633,000 and change, I think. I have a right copy. Can you tell me, is that you're taking money from the fund balance and using it, or is that what that line means?
Where are you?
Probably page like 6, at the very last page of the general fund townwide. So it looks like total expenditures is $1,103,000 almost. We have revenues of 469,000. And then under appropriated fund balance, it looks, there's a almost 634,000. Is that you using money out of the fund balance?
It's 693,298.
The copy I have, I don't know, it's at 633, 798.
511 is the fund.
Yes, it's the bottom of that page, yes. Where it says, the second line from the bottom says appropriated fund balance.
Okay.
Is that using money out of that in order to kind of balance that line?
Is that what that was, Miranda? I'm trying to remember what that was.
Which page are you looking at?
Yep.
That's the line up.
I don't remember exactly.
No, that's the total amount for the, that's gonna be the total for the budget that year.
That total used or total that's in that fund? There's the fund balance
That's
you're
the total
expecting.
that we're expecting. So that's your total budget for that, A. Are you an A?
Yes, but this, you have total
I'm sorry.
expenses of $1,000,001.
Yeah.
You have revenue of 468. You're short in this general fund by 633 to balance your revenue and expenses. Are you saying that you're taking that money out of
That
the?
other sheet that you have tells you what you're taking out of appropriated, out of the fund balance, that other sheet. that
But
you
what
have.
is this line, I guess? Because it happens on every single category. I think that's what people are trying to understand what that line is.
Yeah,
And,
if you go to
Can
the,
you take the microphone over to her, and then you guys,
sorry.
I need to hear it. I can't hear what you're saying.
So if you take the, what we do is we take the appropriated, our revenue, and then what we have for our fund balance from the prior year, and that's what we take away so that we're not raising that much by taxes.
So you're using
Correct.
633,000 out of the fund balance in the general
It
fund?
should be, yes, if you look at the, I'd have to look at the other paper to know for the full amount, but yes, it should be matching that, yes.
Okay, so I might have to see it. So what is the balance in the fund balance at the end? Like, what's your excess or shortfall in that account?
I'd have to have the numbers in front of me to tell you that, I couldn't tell you off the top of my head.
I would like to know, understand that, because that's kind of like your reserve, kind of.
Yes.
So I'd like to know what's left after you're using 633,000 of it.
Yeah, there's plenty.
Yeah, I don't have the exact numbers.
Can you get that to me? Because it's kind of this, it's the same for every one of them. I don't have the rest of the new budget, but that repeats in several of the lines, like the water district, and supervise, or the highway department, so it kind of would be interesting to know
Okay.
what's left if you're using, that's a pretty big amount to use, 633,000. Thank you.
Thank you, Linda. Ed, do you have anything?
I was, but you've already answered part of it, okay? By reducing the one line by 35,000. What else is in that contractual obligations? That line reduced by 35.
Talk to her, Mike.
Okay.
The building contractual,
Yes,
anything to do with the facilities for the whole town. Anything contractual, we got to hire out, or anything other than equipment. Any contracts, any improvements,
but
any.
35 is the only amount that, then that's gonna get reduced. I thought the way that the law was written was that nothing to do with the buildings would be on the towns, on the villages.
On the villages.
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure it says highway.
It says highway.
Highway facilities.
so,
Wasn't that
just so
what?
I'm clear, that, so in that contractual is also this building then, you're
Yes.
saying,
Yeah.
okay? And you just don't know what the percentage is then for the.
No, because we'd have to go
highway
back through all the bills and figure out square footage of the whole building, square footage for the highway department.
itself. It's all built as one.
Yes. I mean, otherwise, we have to put in new electric service
No,
for the
I
garage, and new meter,
understood.
new
I
gas.
just needed to understand.
So as soon as I can calculate the square footage and then get that square footage, then we can take that percentage off the monthly bill.
Of course, I like the way the one law is written, that you may exclude
Yeah.
snow removal, of which the village pays for their own, snow removal.
Yeah.
Out of town doesn't pay for anything in the village. The village pays for out-of-town snow removal. So there's a number of items in that category, but of course, New York State is seeing fit to say may. So
May.
it's up to you guys whether you remove that from the village obligations.
Okay.
So, something to think about in the future. Thank you.
Thank you. Did anyone else sign up?
Lawrence Waters, wife and I did have an opportunity to attend the workshop. It was very informative, and we do appreciate that. Some changes were made. I think back to the initial, excuse me, to the initial meeting in the town highway, I may have misheard this, but it sounded like we were reappropriating funds to avoid having to pay a bond for the new truck. Is that correct?
We mean reappropriating funds.
Dale? Did we move something around to
I didn't know.
help towards the purchase of the new
It
truck?
was the future, in the future.
Yeah, having capital reserve accounts, and whatever we have left over at the end of the year, we can move that money into the reserve fund, if the board approves it. Start building up capital reserve funds for equipment, whatever else we need. You're referring to, let me find it, Larry, I know exactly what you're talking about. That $98,000 or something that was moved,
Yes.
that was moved out, yes, that was moved into a capital reserve fund from the highway.
And then back on this billings contractual once again. Only a portion of that was moved to B, is that correct?
DB, yes,
That's 35,000.
35,000 out of the 170, 175, yes. And we had a guesstimate on what it was gonna be. I don't think it's gonna be that much, but I don't want to undercut it.
Okay. Using up my 3 minutes here. Okay, just one more time here. I keep mentioning it, the fire protection. We keep saying 3% over 3 years, or the next 3 years, or 2%.
Yes, 2% increase with a 3-year contract.
I mean, what does this 261,000 consist of? I mean, we're at 207 last year, we're at 261. I'm just trying to wrap my head around that 25% increase.
Yeah, 3 years. Well, right.
That is East Shelby and Shelby's 2%, and then there's also the self-insurance in there as well. So they have to charge us through, if there's any injuries or accidents, we are charged for the year. So we have to include that in there, so that's part of it.
Okay, I don't know.
We can't control that, that's through a contract. and it's through the county. We have no control over that. That's what we have to pay. We can't change that amount.
All right, and then the last thing, I know, Scott, you had gotten me some information on it, but, you know, we're still looking for some clarity here on the water bill service charge and how that relates to the budget, or how that's independent of the budget, where exactly that goes, how it's kept track of, how it's expended and/or set aside. That may require a separate meeting, I suppose.
That would probably be better.
You know, again, it's, everybody pays a different amount, and, you know, as far as I'm concerned, it's just an additional taxation without a service. So if we could sit down at some point and get some clarity on that, I'd appreciate it.
No problem, we can do that. Thanks. Thank you, Larry.
Okay, Margaret Sherman, and I want to thank you for moving that $35,000. I did get a little bit more information, and that's what I came to tell you tonight. And I know we're at the 12th hour here, and, you know, I appreciate you entertaining this because, you know, we're all under time constraints to get the budget in on time. So the initial information that I found was from the New York State Conference of Mayors newsletter that said by law, the following expenses are to be funded solely from taxes raised from residents of the town who live outside of the village. Among them, you know, we can't charge the town for the town building, zoning, and planning activities, town board of health, town registrar of vital statistics, town police department, which doesn't matter because we have our own town highway garage and town highway repair and improvements. We haven't heard back from NICOM yet because we did reach out to them, but we did find New York State General Municipal Law 277. And I think that's probably where you found your information about the what can be charged to the village and what can't. But I'll just read a quick statement from that. I'm sorry. Which says, Highway Law 277 exempts property within villages which form a separate highway district maintained at village expense from town taxes for the repair and improvement of town highways, and authorizes but does not require a town to exempt property within villages from town taxes for town highway equipment and town highway snow removal and miscellaneous expenditures. Definitely something that we can look further into for next year. And I just wanted to, you know, comment that we did find part of it anyways, so we can explore it more for the next budget, I hope. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you. Is anyone else signed up? Ed, did you have anything?
Things, our attorney fees are escalating once again from 100 to 150,000. I don't understand why it's a 50% increase. And our spending has increased quite a lot. And at least 60 to 75% increase in spending, and our revenues are down. So
The legal fund, we moved up because of the stamp lawsuit. We've got, we'll be starting Borrego, the wind projects, probably once the new board's seated in the spring. Solar, that's ongoing, solar, the Hemlock Ridge project. We've got the bridge project coming up. What else we can say? We've got water 13, the engineering on water 13, and the water district we're exploring. That's where that all comes from. That's why that increased legal.
Well, the renewables, wind and solar, we're reimbursed by the companies, so that's quite a lot of money that we'll be getting back, so. I've checked with other towns, and they don't have anything close to this, so I think it's awful high. That's all I got to say, thank you.
Thanks, Ed. Anyone else? Steve?
No.
Yep. All right. That's it. We'll adjourn the meeting, and Darlene, do you want to start another tape? Do you want to go right into the next meeting?
I think we should. So if you want to listen to one thing, they don't have to listen to the whole thing.
All right, everyone, thanks. Let's call the meeting adjourned.